Napolitano on why GOP should be very happy about Mueller appointment. The appointment of former FBI Director Robert Mueller as special counsel for Trump-Russia probe is good news for Republicans, Judge Andrew Napolitano explained today. The Fox News senior judicial analyst pointed out that Republicans in Congress should be very happy because Mueller's presence will turn down the pressure in Washington. The investigation will be conducted below the radar screen, not on national television, not in the halls of Congress, and hopefully not by information being leaked to the point where it's a flood, he said.
Story built for definition and some level-headed analysis. It's this one.
There's a lot of moving parts, Brian, and an enormous wheel has just been placed in the midst of all the others called Robert Mueller and all the assets and resources available to him and the primacy of his investigation over the others. So now we have a determination by the Justice Department that all of this stuff, all of the allegations against President Trump, for evidence of which we haven't seen anything so far, allegations that came from the memo from Jim Comey, allegations about General Flynn. All of this will be investigated by one person in one place at one time, and that person is a very, very well-respected guy.
First off, for those who don't sign up for your class, just as I should define what we're talking about, special counsel has been named, Robert Mueller has been named to do an investigation into allegations of any type of Russia collusion in last elections and the role the Trump camp might have played.
This is the present-day version of the independent counsel that Ken Starr was in the Bill Clinton era. This is slightly different. The terminology is slightly different, but the authority, the purpose, the function is basically the same. To create an independent team within the Justice Department, using Justice Department resources and assets, money and FBI agents and other tools available to them, to determine if any crimes have been committed and if any crimes can be proven, and if any persons should be prosecuted. We don't know how long this is going to last. He has a charge to examine the General Flynn allegations, the Russian allegations, allegations about the president himself, and any related matters. What
does that mean?
That means anything that addresses peripherally the believability of these people he can go to. So Ken Starr starts out looking at a land deal in Arkansas and ends up with Monica Lewinsky, and we all know how that ended up.
Good or bad thing for the president?
Well, both, actually. This will lessen the pressure in Washington, D.C. The Republicans in the Congress should be very happy. It takes a lot of pressure off of them. And this investigation will be conducted below the radar screen, not on national television, not in the halls of Congress. Hopefully not by information being leaked to the point where it's a flood. But this is a real investigation. This isn't members of Congress grandstanding. This is a grand jury with subpoena power. There will be a federal judge assigned to this who can issue search warrants. There will be a large team of FBI agents. They're not going to request things like they did in the Hillary Clinton investigation. They're going to show up with search warrants and seize things. So this will be fast, but we won't see it. We'll see it when the independent counsel is ready to tell us, I'm about to indict, or there is no there, we're closing up shop.
You know, I've heard a number of legal analysts talk about how Robert Mueller, who was the FBI director for both President Obama and George W. Bush, is above reproach. He's a great, he's a great G-man, liked by both parties. But I got a question for you. He's also very good friends with James Comey.
Yes.
Does that impact this?
I don't think so. I think at this level, you're not talking about a financial relationship with them. You're not talking about them being in the same law firm. I think at this level, their friendship is actually going to help
put their friendship aside.
Absolutely.
You would hope so. By the way, Adam Schiff should listen to you because he says this is not a substitute for a vigorous investigation in Congress. The Senate and House think they still have the ball here. Do they still have the ball?
They're going to try, Brian, because they have one goal in mind, to get reelected, and at both parties, and they get reelected by getting their mugs on television. But If they think they're going to get documents at the same time or ahead of the special prosecutor, they're wrong. He has primacy in this, and he has what's called the Federal Rules of Criminal Procedure. If he gets a document, let's say this is Comey's memos. We believe there's 5 memos. We heard excerpts from one. He gets this. He can't share it with the Senate. It's evidence in a criminal case. He's required to keep it a secret. Now, this will help some of them because it keeps them from having to make difficult decisions, but it will frustrate some of them, like Adam Schiff and Chuck Schumer, who now have lost control over this rolling ball.
Also, doesn't this help Sean Spicer ultimately? Because now, in the press briefing, when somebody asks a question about Russia, he goes, "You know what? We got this special counsel right now."
Go ask them.
Right.
Right. So they'll probably have a spokesperson as well who'll basically say, "You know what? It's a criminal investigation. We're not allowed to give you a snapshot in the middle of it. Come back to us when it's over."
Judge, we've heard obstruction of justice. We've heard impeachment. Any of those come into play here, you think, or none of the above?
I mean, he's going to start by, I think, excluding things. Impeachment is a political judgment, which he is not charged. Bob Mueller is not charged with making. That's really up to the Congress. But he will look at obstruction of justice to see if there has been an attempt to obstruct justice, a conspiracy to obstruct justice, or an actual serious effort to obstruct justice.
When you look at what James Comey apparently wrote in his notes, and we all now know he was a big note taker, and after he had every meeting with Donald Trump, candidate or president of the United States, he would take a lot of notes and write it all down. When he said, "I hope you can let this go," does that rise to the level of obstruction of justice? Is that the boss saying, "Hey, back off"?
So I would want to see that, and any lawyer would, in my view, before making giving you a meaningful or prudent answer. I would want to see the context in which it was stated, the contents of all of the memos, the tone of the language, and whether or not his observations stayed the same over this 5-month period during the course of which there's 5 memos.
Right.
So I'm not avoiding your answer. I'm basically saying I would need to know more before saying yes or no.
Let me present Exhibit A.
Okay.
The date is May 3rd, and James Comey asked a question about a similar situation that might come up, and the question really will focus on an attorney general or a deputy. Let's watch.
If the Attorney General or senior officials at the Department of Justice opposes a specific investigation, can they halt that FBI investigation?
In theory, yes.
Has it happened?
Not in my experience, because it would be a big deal to tell the FBI to stop doing something that without an appropriate purpose. I mean, oftentimes they give us opinions that we don't see a case there, and so you ought to stop investing resources in it. But I'm talking about a situation where we were told to stop something for a political reason. That would be a very big deal. It's not happened in my experience.
All right, so is there even a need for an investigation?
Another piece of the puzzle. Question, does that contradict the portions of the memo that an FBI agent read to the New York Times, or does it supplement? We don't know the answer to that until we see all of the memos.
Relevant?
Yes, absolutely relevant because he said it under oath. Relevant because it's the same subject matter.
Well, he said it's not that would be a big deal if this happened. Never happened in my experience. And after the memos, these alleged memos were released to the New York Times, they did the story. And then did you read Greg Jarrett's piece yesterday on Fox News? He said that if Comey knew there was obstruction of justice and he didn't report it immediately, then he's in big trouble.
I don't read the law the same way our colleague does. I also would caution against that kind of judgment because we don't know to whom the memo was sent. For example, if the memo was sent to the public integrity section of the FBI or the public integrity section of the Justice Department, then there's no criticism of Comey. If he just kept the memo on his iPhone, then he just wrote it to refresh his own recollection and didn't report it to anyone.
So it could have just been his personal notes, which he did apparently share with some of his colleagues in the FBI.
Yes. Yes.
Not an official memo, just, hey, this is what happened.
The obligation to report something, it pertains to a completed crime that you observed. It doesn't pertain to every piece of evidence that comes.
Can I just give a recommendation to you?
Yeah, I'm getting nervous here because it's on national television, Kilmeade. What are you going to say to me that's personal?
don't go to church at 5 o'clock.
Oh, God.
For the last 4 days, news breaks and they need you. You can't be caught in a church. You have to be you have to be TV ready.
I was at Mass last night when Kim Rosenberg, that's Shepard Smith's executive producer, found me, and we did a level 2, meaning all the Fox 5s in the country, and I was in the vestibule of the church.
No more church.
On my iPhone.
Hold on a minute. You had your phone turned on in church?
Oh,
That's the first thing they tell you. That's the first thing they tell you. Turn off your phone.
It rang. I saw Rosenberg's name. I had to answer.
2 Hail Marys.
Judge.
By the power vested in me, you're forgiven.
Thank you.
Go in
Thank you, Monsignor.
Just to the beat?
I'm not sure what I did. I think I'm in Waters World. I'm not really sure.
Judge, next time you go to church, which is probably today, please pray for him because he just told you not to go.
Hey, Jillian.
Love you, guys.
Well, that's it. Judge Napolitano, he's the best, and let us know what you think in the comments below, and thank you so much for watching.